Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bowerly.
Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. Today, I am your host, Justin Bowerly. We're doing a little Freaky Friday moment. I get to host this show. Look at me. I'm the captain now, Josh. I'm the captain. Speaking of Josh, let's bring Josh in. Josh, how you doing today?
I am good. I am here. I'm ready to talk fantasy football.
Are you trying to be all stiff like you say I am? That's so rude. All right. Well,
it's Freaky
It is Freaky
Wednesday.
Friday.
It's Freaky Friday on a Wednesday.
It is Freaky Friday on a Wednesday. You should have picked the Dave role and just like been in your kitchen, like with no lights, and then like move your microphone around. That'd have been fun.
We love Dave.
We do love Dave.
Honestly, listen to me before we go. Before you, I'm gonna give you the keys right here. You could have the keys for the show, but I want to say this. Everyone, we got some cool content coming out very, very soon. Maybe this week. There's more to come. And I can't wait to do one with you, Dave. I know you're watching. I really can't wait to do one with you, Dave. All right. Take over, sir.
All right. So we got a bunch of news coming up. We're going to talk average draft position. We're going to do our typical once upon a draft here at the end to have a fun end of the show. So, but before we get into all of that, be sure to like the show. Subscribe if you really, really like the show. Be sure to like this. Share it with your friends. If you love the show, be sure to subscribe to it, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. If you are on one of our podcast apps, please go to YouTube because we have so much content on there. We've got videos for everything. We're going to have shorter content videos coming out between two of us. We're going to be talking about different players who we'd rather draft, where they rank in our rankings, because we have all of that. Be sure to check out our website, OUSFFF. Oh my God, too many Fs. OUSFFPOD.com for all of our rankings, any analysis. Soon we'll have news once the season starts, and we will have so much more, including Super League information. Josh, that's everything, right? I told them to follow, told them to subscribe.
Hit the alerts.
Turn on our alerts. If you're on Twitter, there you go, Twitter. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, OUSFFPOD, everywhere. Just follow that everywhere. You can follow Josh, but Josh won't follow. He won't be on Twitter much.
What is Twitter?
X. You can follow me at Justin Bowerly. Right now, our social media manager has given me a lot of homework. If you have a Scott Fishbowl draft, be sure to respond to our post, and I will rate it with my favorite GIF. Rate your draft, your team. So let's get on to the news.
What do you give my GIF? What? Hold on. Do I get a GIF? You know my roster.
If you respond with your roster.
Do a live GIF right now. Impersonate it of my team.
I don't remember. Your team is a bunch of what? Wide receivers?
Yeah. I know your team. You don't know mine. Move it along, Jacob. Jesus Christ.
So we got some big fantasy news here. Starting off at the top, Jordan Addison. Bro. Last year, he was arrested for doing, 120 miles an hour through like a school zone. This year, recently, he has been arrested again for a DUI. He was sleeping in a stopped vehicle in front of, or in the middle of the highway, in the middle of the night by LAX.
Like in the highway or on the side of the highway?
Like on the highway, somewhere on the highway.
Like in a lane or on the side?
I couldn't tell. There was no cars around him. It looked like it was literally like in the middle of the highway. But it could have been off to the side.
So I'm asking these questions because I am unplugged, as the kids say these days, or the old grandpas say. And I have been, it's ironic because I'm unplugged, but this whole entire weekend I played Pokemon Go Fest 8 hours a day. And I didn't see this news because it happened this weekend. And that's why I'm asking the question. So he was not driving the vehicle. He was asleep in his vehicle, possibly on the side of the road or in the middle of the highway. That's unclear. Either way, how do you get drunk in the middle of a highway? That's a question I have. Second question is, did he get deserted? Do we know the story? I'm not defending the guy, but do we know the story? Because I didn't know he was parked until just now at this moment. And I have a different thought on that. So
I'm looking at this. Driving under the influence charges after he was found asleep at the wheel of a car near the Los Angeles International Airport. I saw a picture. It looked like it was in the middle of the highway, but California Highway Patrol officers were dispatched at about 11:10 p.m. Friday to a report of a disabled vehicle blocking lanes from the westbound 105 freeway. So yeah, blocking lanes on the highway.
Okay.
And we're going to send it to our producer who has some input onto the situation.
Yeah, I was just going to basically say the same thing you did. Blocking a lane of I-105 westbound is where they found him. They found him asleep behind the wheel. And this is Addison's second driving-related incident since joining the Minnesota Vikings.
Jordan Addison, man. I have him in like 4 different leagues, and I'm going to hold on to him for now. He's sitting on the bench. It's not like I have to have him starting, so that does help me here. Yeah, so Jordan Addison, can you let's maybe be a little bit smarter. Let's move on to the next segment.
I got something to add. I got something.
You got more. You got more. Okay. What's
just
up?
A little bit to add. Earlier on this offseason, I've been trading hard. If you know the show, if you've been following me, hey, what's going on, Jerry? Hey, Anthony in the chat. If you have been following me or the show, I'm a huge JSN guy. I've been buying him in every dynasty league I possibly can.
You have.
And I asked Dave, who's not on the show tonight, who has more value? Because I'm talking about Jordan Addison or JSN at the moment, because he said I paid way too much for JSN in the league, but he himself, Dave, is demanding a first round pick for Addison in return. He wants a high first round pick for Addison. So does this continue? People perceived Addison as the more valuable asset in Dynasty. They always have. I'm not sure what the pulse is today. Don't know a price check. But has JSN jumped him in your books, or is JSN still below Addison? Because I had JSN above him before this. I was like, but I'm in the minority. I understand that.
So here's the thing. I looked into this the other day, I think, actually. I wanted to see what Addison did last year without Justin Jefferson, because I think that's the important aspect and the important question that we're looking for. Week 6 through 12, while Jefferson was out, Addison was the wide receiver 9 in the entire NFL. However, before his injury, he was wide receiver 30, just starting his career. I get it. First 5 weeks of your NFL career, you're probably not going to be top 12 material already. But after JJ came back, he was wide receiver 37.
Well, listen, he JJ's a ball hog, and it's for good reason. He's great. He deserves the ball. So that's what I'm asking everybody. Yes, JSN is the third mouth over there in Seattle, but I believe when Lockett finally passes,
yeah, that's the thing. So that is the thing, is that eventually, if we think about the future years, yeah, Jordan Addison continues to get in trouble, and then eventually he's out of the league. Like we have like a Justin Blackmon situation here. Wow. But eventually, yeah, like how I brought that one back.
Eventually, if we had sound effects, they'd be like, "That's a name it's the whole Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a name I haven't heard in a long." We need that soundbite, Jacob. We need that soundbite.
You have a board that you can put sound bites on.
I do. I do.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. JSN, however, like eventually, yeah, like you said, Lockett's going to retire at some point, which is going to move him up into the roster. And then you have him and DK. We see 2 wide receiver sets do really well. We see wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 do very well in fantasy football. I think JSN could get a lot of stock. Like right now, if I'm having to pick between the two, I'm picking JSN in Dynasty. I never thought I would say that. You want to move on to the next news topic?
Yep.
All right. So Kyle Pitts, we hear this every year. Apparently he's going to play some wide receiver. I didn't believe that with Arthur Smith. However, now I do with Raheem Morris and the guy that we talked off air about their offense coordinator. I think this is a move to where Kyle Pitts becomes a wide receiver, not a tight end, which is what we've all been hoping for someday. What do you think?
Is this going to be a situation where when he does become an elite wide receiver and he wants to get paid, and then they go, nah, you're Jimmy Graham, you're a tight end, and then they have to do this whole arbitration thing again? If it was in the best interest of the Atlanta Falcons, you keep him a tight end, so you don't got to pay him that wide receiver money. Let's be honest. But for fantasy reasons, yes, it's an amazing thing. It's amazing. We want him off the edge. We want him in the slot. We want him out wide. He is an elite athlete that needs to break out. People are predicting for the 8th, 20th, 50th year in a row, this is Kyle Pitts' breakout. I feel like he's the Jerick McKinnon of tight ends. We talked about Jerick McKinnon breaking out in Minnesota for 5 years. He did nothing. We got to see Pitts now, because we can't be talking about him for 5 straight years or 4 straight years or however long it's been. Feels like an eternity. He just doesn't show up. So this is it for me. I love it. Let's get him out there. Let's be different. They should have done this last year with Jonnu Smith. They should have done this last year. Put Jonnu at the tight end position. You didn't have anyone besides London. You should have done it last year. But that moron went over to Pittsburgh, so can't wait to see how that works out. Yes, this is great for fantasy. Terrible idea for Atlanta. Terrible. Like, you're going to pay this guy a lot of money.
Yeah, as to say, right as you're about to pay him a new contract, maybe you play him more at tight end. But now he could also say, hey, look, I can play both positions. I need more money. And it's terrible decision for the Falcons. Great for fantasy.
I mean, not terrible if it works out. Let's be honest. I'm sure Dallas didn't mind paying CD. I'm sure Minnesota didn't mind paying Justin Jefferson. It's the people like Nelson Aguilar and Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's a fine player, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not the superstars. So
yeah,
as long as Kyle Pitts is a superstar, pay the man.
Yeah. Last bit of news here. This has been all over social media. Brandon Ayuk formally requests a trade. This is the most unserious news in my opinion. This isn't real. Like, nothing's going to come out of this. The 49ers are not trading Brandon Ayuk. They've already said he's not on the table. And let's think about last year. Deebo Samuel said, I want out, trade me. He got signed a month later. Jonathan Taylor last year said, I'm never playing for the Colts. Like, trade me. Everybody around the NFL said, Jonathan Taylor's getting traded. He's not going to play for the Colts. And where's Deebo and where's JT right now? Both on their teams. So Brandon Ayuk will still be on the 49ers this fall. I cannot see him playing for any other team at this point.
I can see it happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I say it's unlikely it's going to happen. I just don't know what their plans are. John Lynch has come out, like you said, he's not on the trading block. He's not going to be traded, yada, yada, yada. We've heard this before. Do we see a situation where Brandon Ayuk is serious and he holds out? And now we're looking at a situation where his ADP, I don't even know his ADP, to be honest with you, but I remember it was very, very high when I was doing the Scott Fish Bowl.
He's a 20 overall wide receiver 15.
That's that is bananas. That is another, is it an adjective for crazy? That is bonkers. What is happening with everybody? Nico Collins, Brandon Ayuk, like, are we just doing every above average wide receivers just getting drafted up in the top 24? I can't comprehend what's going on. But anyway, back to the Brandon Ayuk situation. I don't think he's going to be traded. I think he's going to play. Holding out these days is a thing. It's a thing of the past. But man, who does he think he is? Does he think he's Larry Fitzgerald? Does he think he's Anquan? Does he think he's an elite top level? I haven't seen it. I've seen flashes. I haven't seen him dominate, like as in like dominate a season. I've seen him dominate games. That's fine, like 1 or 2. But where does he come off demanding this? Am I wrong? Did I miss his blow up? Did I miss like his dominating 1,800-yard season? Did I miss his 15 touchdowns? Did he have 15 touchdowns last year? I can't remember because I just want to know.
He did have a good season. It's not
No,
like
he did.
but I think last year was like the year. Like he has been, in my opinion, pretty average. He finished as wide receiver 14 in PPR. Last year he had 7 touchdowns. The year before he had 8 touchdowns and was wide receiver
Okay.
15.
But tell me
So
the
it's just
yardage. Tell me his target share. Is he dominating games?
he
Is he
had
putting on
105 targets last year. He
is he
went
putting
down
on
last
just
year actually.
is he putting on Justin Jefferson numbers? Is he having the Randy Moss games? Is he having these big blow up games that I'm missing?
He had a 33-point game in week 1.
Okay.
After that, he had 3 games over 20 points. So no, he's not.
So let me ask you this, and this is just me spitballing here, just asking my host a question. You see the Brandon Ayuk, he's a wide receiver 2 to Debo. The T. Higgins is a wide receiver 2 to Chase. Who would you rather have on your fantasy team right now? T. Higgins is a wide receiver 2. Let's just say Ayuk plays the full season and so does Higgins. Which one are you rostering? Are you rostering this guy who hasn't really whatever, or T. Higgins? I'm just asking because one's getting drafted way lower.
If we're assuming both are fully healthy, I'm kind of taking Ayuk at this point. I mean, Higgins has never finished higher than wide receiver 18. And that was actually when he played an entire season. One of his only times he's ever played an entire season. So, I mean, that's the sample size right there. If you look at both 2020 and 2022, he finishes wide receiver 28 and wide receiver 18. At this point, I think I'm taking Ayuk. Both of them are playing for contracts, though.
Higgins, yeah, that was my point. But Higgins may have been a bad example because of that. But I figured the contract situation. But I brought him up. But Chase is such an alpha compared to a Debo.
Ayuk doesn't have an alpha. That's the problem. Their alpha is their running back, who's going to take a lot of those yards from them.
Yep. Anthony wants to know how long before Kyle Pitts demands a trade out for Atlanta. No, I think he's fine.
I don't think he will. I would find it very hard for them to just trade him out of it, or for him to want to be out of Atlanta right now. He's got such a great opportunity there. He is the only tight end. Now, if they start playing and don't do contract negotiations with him, then yeah, maybe they will trade. Maybe he will request a trade, but I don't see that happening. All right. That's it for the news. Let's move on to our next segment and talk about average draft position. So first up, we're going to talk about quarterbacks. And the first quarterback that we are going to talk about is Kyler Murray. ADP 71 overall. He's being drafted as the QB 10. So, Josh, I have a question for you.
Yo.
At this point right now, would you rather draft Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray?
I knew you were going to bring that guy up. And man, it's close. Closer than people think, in my opinion.
I have a lot. So I have several people I want to ask you about. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Kyler Murray.
Okay. Do you want CJ Stroud or Kyler Murray?
Stroud. That's my cutoff.
That's your cutoff?
If my rankings are true, if my rankings are not frauds, Joe Burrow. Let me look at my
Dak
rankings.
Prescott or Kyler?
Jacob, can you pull up my rankings? Who?
Dak Prescott or Kyler?
Oh, gosh, probably Kyler.
Okay, so this is very, very interesting. So you do not. So what I'm getting out of this is you do not agree with the current ADP.
No,
because right now the current ADP for where was he? He's way up there. That's right. Anthony Richardson is being drafted 58th overall as QB5. CJ Stroud, you said you want Kyler over him. CJ Stroud is. You did.
Yeah, I said Stroud.
I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson over Kyler. You said Kyler over AR, who's currently the highest of the quarterbacks I've talked about. CJ Stroud is 72 overall, being drafted as QB6. Of course, we said Kyler. Oh, actually, he fell. Oh, my stats are wrong on this. Kyler's actually fallen since yesterday. He's now being drafted as QB7, 80 overall.
Who?
Kyler.
Hold on, I looked up ADP for Kyler today. He's quarterback 10 overall, 70.
What am I doing here?
On my ADP. And I looked that up about maybe 4 hours ago. Hey, while you're looking that up, Jacob, can you run down my my top 10 quarterback rankings?
For sure. You have Patrick Mahomes at 1, Jalen Hurts at 2, Josh Allen at 3, Lamar Jackson at 4, CJ Stroud at 5. Then you jump down to Kyler at 6, Joe Burrow at 7. Looks like Brock Purdy at 8, Anthony Richardson at 9, and Dak Prescott to round out the 10.
Everything I said was true, baby. Just listen to my heart. I told y'all. I don't lie. My rankings are real.
I see what I did. Stupid website, and they're switching back from PPR to standard on me. So this is all standard, non-super flex talk right here. So we'll be out of our comfort zone here for just a minute. Okay, so yeah. So what do you think about Kyler's ADP right now?
I think it's
drafted QB10.
I think it's a great value. People are overlooking him. Even at the Scott Fishbowl live draft in Orlando, people were kind of telling me how, yeah, but he lost this guy. He's not elite. He doesn't do the right things. He's not tall. He doesn't have that frame. Yada, yada. You know, I hear all this nonsense, and I'm like, guys, like, nothing against them. Like, they have their own opinions, like we all do. It's fine. It's like, guys, do you not realize that Kyler is one of the most elite fantasy quarterbacks since he's been in the league? It's ridiculous how he's been up there. I think top 11 every single year in fantasy points per game at the quarterback position. I believe 3 of those 4, he was top 6. 2, he was top 3. People forget that just because last year he wasn't, because he didn't play half the season or more than half of the season. The guy has been phenomenal. So honestly, what's the hate about him? Every single year, Kyler Murray has rushed for 418 yards or more in a season. That's what you want in your quarterbacks. I always hear you want that magical, 350, 400, whatever it is rushing on the ground. He also scores the touchdowns. He can keep the ball and run. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Matter of fact, he's only thrown 46 interceptions in his career, so he's not turning the ball over. He might have a little bit of fumbling problem, but he does recover a lot of fumbles. I did look up that stat earlier. I just don't see what we're doing here with, let's say, an Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray. Kyler, we've seen it 4 years, 4 out of the past 5 years. And when he came back last year, he was still very, very, very good. I think averaging 18 points a game. Richardson, we've seen 4 games. If you ask Josh Wingate, we've seen 5. If we ask you, we've seen 4. Who knows at this point? But my whole point is we've seen Kyler prove that he's an elite top athlete. Oh, he lost so-and-so DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, cool. He has Marvin Harrison. Oh, he lost Zach Ertz or oh, cool. Jay McBride. What else? Like, we've seen him produce with just Hopkins. We've seen him produce with just, even with Hollywood Brown for those couple games. Ballers ball. And Kyler is a baller. Make fun of his Call of Duty, make fun of his video games, make fun of his shortness, make fun of everything. But at the end of the day, for fantasy purposes, he is the most undervalued quarterback. And I don't know, I'm sure you picked him for that reason, because I'm passionate about Kyler. And I had no idea, guys. This is all blind to me. I don't know any of these. I don't know the rest of the people, to be honest with you. I'll show you my text. But this and most of these stats and these things are by memory, because I love this guy so much. And it's just like, what are we doing? Giving a rushing quarterback outside the top 70 overall and quarterback 10? Well, who's quarterback 9 in ADP? I need to know.
Quarterback 9 in the standard in what we're looking at right now. I had this. Where'd he go? Yeah, Jordan Love.
I mean, you can't see, that's the problem. For so long, and this is just for fantasy purpose, we had this dry quarterback market, and now you can get the quarterback 17, 18, 19. They're awesome. That's why we had to switch to Superflex, because it was too easy. So honestly, like, it's so hard for me to evaluate one quarterback leagues, because if I'm in a one quarterback league, and I'm only in a few, I'm never drafting a quarterback until the very last 2 rounds. Ever. You'll never see. Okay, that's a lie. In my keeper league last year, I took Josh Allen in the 2nd round, and I told everyone, because I had great keepers. I had Amon Ra, like in the 8th round. I had Kenneth Walker, like in the 10th round, or whatever it was. I won that league. I took Josh Allen, and everyone, even Dirtbag Dave, who's in that league, who's the commissioner, said, dude, taking a quarterback early, you're dumb. I said, Josh Allen's going to score me 40 points a game. Amon-Ra's going to give me 30. Kenneth Walker's going to give me 15. See y'all in the playoffs. I went undefeated all the way until like the very last game of the regular season, won the whole damn thing, scored the most points by a bajillion. My point is this. Quarterbacks can win you a league. And you can get a game changer like Kyler Murray that late. It's ridiculous, especially in a one quarterback league. I wonder where he goes in a super flex this year. I saw in Scott Fishbowl in my draft, he went top 6 apparently, but everyone else is second round. So.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I could see him in the second round in the super flex. He wouldn't be the first quarterback I take unless I went wide receiver like in the first round or running back in the first round. But yeah, I see him being second round earliest in super flex right now. I really wish Fantasy Pros had super flex rankings rather than just the stand like.
We can do our own super flex rankings.
We could.
We can be pros of fantasy as well.
We can be the pros of fantasy. You're right. Let's talk about the next guy here. We got Jaden Daniels, whose ADP is QB 14, 97 overall in standard format. In PPR, he's QB 11, ADP 101. So he goes up in ADP or in the QB rankings there, but drops a little bit in the ADP. Let's we've talked about some of these guys here. So let's move on to our game here again. Would you rather have Brock Purdy or Jaden Daniels?
Brock Purdy.
Jared Goff or Jaden Daniels?
Man, I don't want to be a fraud with my rankings because I don't know where I put these two. I think I had Jaden Daniels ahead of him, so I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
All right. Tua or Jaden Daniels?
Man, this one's tough. Come on, man. Come on.
I know it is.
This one's very
There's
tough.
a reason why I picked guys I picked.
I think I have Tua above Jaden Daniels because I think he's more steady. I'm taking Tua.
All right. And last one, would you rather have Jaden Daniels or Justin Herbert?
I ranked Herbert like 18th, I think, this year. I think I have him quarterback 18. So I'm thinking Jaden Daniels is in the top 18.
All right. So of the 4 quarterbacks I named, only Justin Herbert is currently below him in ADP. Justin Herbert is 103, QB 15 in standard format. Jaden Daniels has a lot of rushing upside. This is what makes him so high. People are talking, Caleb Williams was the 101 in the draft this year. He's got all the wide receiver talent in the world. They've literally built a team around Caleb Williams. However, he doesn't have the same rushing upside as Jaden Daniels does. I think Jaden's going to be able to run the ball more. He's going to be able to get out of the pocket and score touchdowns. And that's truly my biggest thing for him. If you looked at fantasy points from the quarterbacks last year in college football, Jaden Daniels would have been QB1 of college football fantasy. That's big time. And I think that it reflects in the rankings. Are you drafting him as your QB1? No. Are you drafting him as a QB2 in Superflex? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Easy for me.
So I'm glad you had all your, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. And Anthony, I do see you in the chat. I will get to you in your questions. Justin, can we get to Anthony pretty soon?
Yeah.
Rookies are tough. So I'm the guy who drafted Dak in the very last round of my single quarterback league, and Dak blew up. I'm the guy who drafts CJ Stroud in the very last round, and he blew up. I'm that guy. Jaden Daniels, he's not going to get there because of the rushing, because of the college, show he put on in college. So it's going to be difficult for him to drop. I'm not touching Jaden Daniels this year. I need to see it first. That's the kind of guy I am. Now, if he's round 16, 15, 14, and he's free, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm taking him. But he's not free this year. And that's unfortunate because I want to test drive it before I buy it. And Jaden Daniels is in that situation for me. I want to test him before I buy him. Simple.
All right. You want to move on to the running backs? Or do you let's talk about Anthony here. Anthony said, who is your highest predicted rookie in your fantasy rankings this year at receiver from this previous draft? So highest ranked rookie in our rankings. And I know you don't have your...
I can tell you who my highest... It's Marvin Harrison.
Rookie. Yeah.
It's Marvin
easy.
Harrison and Kyler Murray.
Obviously.
They're gonna ball out. They're gonna score 28 touchdowns this year together, combined.
Yeah, I have Marvin Harrison also. I have him at 8. You have him at 7. I think our next rookies are probably Malik Neighbors. I have him
I'll
at
tell
28.
you what
You
though,
have him at 39.
I have him low. I have Malik
Yeah.
Neighbors down there, and that's
Oh,
for
yeah,
a
for
good
sure.
reason. So I think my
Yeah.
second rookie projection for this season, my second rookie wide receiver is, it's not Neighbors. Who is it? Who do I have as my rookie in the rankings?
Let's see.
We should play it. New game. Jacob, new game. Josh predicts his own rankings. Josh,
Malik is your second rookie.
Oh, he is. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have him. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me sort this real quick. Marvin
Josh,
Harrison Jr. This makes great for audio listeners right here.
Does
of us
Josh
just
know
reading.
his own rankings? Ba-doom, boom.
I'm pretty
Come
sure it
on.
is Malik Neighbors. Yeah, it's Malik
got it.
Neighbors.
Got it,
And
Neighbors.
then after Malik, you've got. Here's a question for you: do you have Lad McConkey or Roma Dunze as your wide receiver 3?
Lad.
You do have Lad. Yes, you
Lad.
have Lad
Yeah,
at 48. You have Odunze at 55.
Yep. I think, listen, I told everyone this at SFB Orlando, and I tell everyone now, if JSN can get JSN'd, Odunze can get Odunze'd. You get my drift. They got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. Seattle has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I think JSN's a better player than Odunze. I think JSN's a more polished receiver. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys in the chat, let me know. But all I'm saying is JSN didn't get the opportunities. What makes you think? And Lockett's not a Hall of Famer, and neither is DK. But Guess what? Keenan Allen is. What makes you think that he's going to get playing time over a Hall of Famer? And DJ Moore is still in his prime. It's going to be difficult for him to get a lot of snaps. That's why he's so low.
Keenan Allen's going to end up playing in the slot, which is going to allow Odunze to be on the outside going for the deep balls.
Okay, we'll see.
So
Tyler Lockett was going to play in the slot too, right? Tyler Lockett was going to play in the slot. Well, we were told
should be playing in the slot.
That's what we were told, right? We were told that.
I don't know who's saying that. Odunze is also returning kicks, but that doesn't matter for a lot of fantasy leagues. It matters in Scott Fishbowl, matters in a couple of leagues that we've started up this year, but it doesn't matter outside of those leagues. So, hope that answers your question, Anthony.
And we already said Kyle Pitts is not demanding no trade no time soon.
Yeah, he's not demanding a trade anytime soon. He wants that money. You want to talk about running backs or wide receivers? You pick.
Well, running backs.
Let's talk about running backs. Travis Etienne Jr. ADP RB7, 18 overall. Is that high or low?
Man.
Second round.
Let me tell you something. Where's my paper? Because I wrote all their ADPs.
PPR is RB11. ADP is 44.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say, because that's
with PPR.
That's a way different
ADP this is standard. So this is going to hurt a lot with the way that Justin decided he was going to do the show. So
Justin has said, you know what, we're going all standard. We're going back to 1992. We're all doing standard, no PPRs, right? No half PPRs, no the super flex. We're going straight up standard. We don't got decimal points. You got to get. Remember the days? You don't remember the days.
God.
I guarantee you don't remember.
No,
the days.
I do. I remember
67 yards. Or 69 yards. Like, come on,
points.
Man.
Yeah.
Come on.
I remember those because I remember when the first league I had with decimal scoring, I was like, oh my God, this is weird. Like, this so weird. And then I had a league hold out until like 2018 to finally implement decimal scoring.
That is not the way. So, everyone, this is a mirage. The ADP you see on the screen. If you're playing PPR, it's running back 11, 45 overall. So we're looking fourth round. I think this is fine. I think his ADP is honestly fine. I think the running back position in the top 10 are very heavy loaded. I say 10 because he's 11th, but you look at the guys at the top. We just had a conversation earlier today about Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson, who are both above him. You got CMC above him. You have Breece Hall above him. Like, there's multiple running backs that deserve the spot above him because he's solid. He's great. He had a phenomenal year last year. But just like I said about Ayuk Is he the real true superstar? Can he be replaced any moment? Is he interchangeable? Is he just a guy? He's not a CMC. He's not a game changer. He's not a Saquon. He's not a Bijan. He's not a Jahmyr Gibbs. Some would say he's just a guy. But he's just a guy who's efficient. He's just a guy who knows how to catch the football from Trevor Lawrence. He's just a guy who's a perfect dump-off target for his college teammate. But hold on. I'm not done though. But he gets the job done when he gets the ball. I looked this up today in the last 30 minutes. He had the 5th most yards created out of all running backs. Isn't he juking? He's jiving. He's breaking tackles. He has to create his own yardage to be successful. So what if he doesn't have such a good year? Maybe he ate a little bit too many Big Macs. He had a little bit less training this offseason. Are they going to be able to scheme him in positions where he's in space? Is that offensive line going to block for him the same? What I'm saying is it's very hard to create all those yards every single year. Running backs don't really have that at the top of like, oh, that guy's consistently doing this. That's what I worry about. Is he going to slow down? Is he going to, because we've only seen him 1 year, and that was last year. That's all.
Food for thought on a Wednesday night.
I don't understand. Listen, they drafted that tank, right? The tank guy who didn't really do anything.
Did we think he was going to actually do anything though?
People did. Running backs are here today, gone tomorrow, unless you're the top. And I don't know if Travis Etienne is at the top. He could be, or he could be another Miles Sanders who just fades into oblivion. I remember last year I was in a league, which you know exactly what league it is. Somebody traded Miles Sanders for a 4th round rookie pick before Miles Sanders was a trash can, before Miles Sanders fell off the face of this planet. And I trashed this guy so hard. You gave up because Miles Sanders came off that Philly year. He went to Carolina. I'm like, you gave up. Miles Sanders, who had a very good year in Philadelphia, for a 4th round, like literally a 4th round pick. 4th round picks are trash, dude. Like you throw them you get rid of them. You ask Jacob, can you take my 4th round pick, dude? I don't want to pay attention to this draft anymore. That's what 4th round draft picks are. Turns out he's just gone, literally gone in a year. Like just, could Etienne do that? That's all I'm saying. I know that has nothing to do with his ADP right now because he is at his right spot. But, man, I'm scared with these mid-round running backs. So after you hit that top level, then there's that mid-level, and then there's the bottom. Give me the top or the bottom. I don't want these middle guys.
Yeah, somebody asked me on another podcast yesterday whether I liked Trevor Lawrence, and then he said I'm a Trevor hater and stuff like that. And I'm just like, no, I don't trust the Jacksonville Jaguars offense unless you're Evan Ingram. That's the only player on the Jaguars offense I trust.
I'm getting invited to podcasts. I'm a big time celebrity.
I knew you were gonna be a hater.
Well, podcast was
a hater.
Plug the show. I want to watch it. Plug the show. Where is it?
It was the Big D podcast.
Where can I watch it?
On YouTube. I don't know much more than that other than it's the Big D podcast. I didn't even know it was going to be video, and he told me, and then like he just put it out there. I was like, okay, well, good thing I had the lights and stuff on and ready to go. But yeah, I don't trust anybody on that offense. Travis Etienne's ADP in the 40 range. That's what, like 4th-ish round, late 3rd, early 4th. I don't know if I'm taking him there. I think I'd rather get some value out of the guys around him, Ramondre Stevenson, another guy who we're about to talk about, and James Conner, DeAndre Swift. I'd rather have DeAndre Swift.
I think I'd rather have DeAndre Swift as well for the price. It's all about price, people. It's price is king in drafts, especially in snake drafts.
So here's the thing: is I mean, if we're looking at ETN right now, would you rather have? Oh, here you go. Would you rather have Amari Cooper or Travis Etienne?
Man, that's tough. Depends on that right there. And I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to give you an answer, but I'm just telling you that right there is a loaded question if that's what that means, because what if I already have Justin Jefferson in the first and then I come, what if I already stacked?
Yeah. But if we're looking at best player available, if we're looking at the BPA right now, rapid fire, you're on the clock, 30 seconds. Amari Cooper or Travis Etienne?
Etienne.
Jalen
I'm going
Hurts,
Etienne.
Travis Etienne. Oh, okay.
Jalen Hurts or
Yeah.
Etienne. Etienne.
Terry McLaurin, Travis Etienne.
Etienne. Easy.
Lamar Jackson, Travis Etienne.
Etienne.
Trey
We're talking one
McBride,
quarterback.
Travis Etienne. Yeah, one
Etienne.
quarterback.
Etienne.
Okay. So you have Etienne over two guys that are being drafted above him and guys that are being drafted below him. So maybe
You name
you are
quarterbacks.
taking Etienne right there.
But you name quarterbacks.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mark Andrews or Travis Etienne?
Etienne. So
Dalton
I guess I'm a
Kincaid or
lover.
Travis Etienne?
Etienne. I am
Keenan
a lover
Allen.
of Etienne. Oh, now you got me on that one because I think Keenan's going to ball this year.
Keenan's being drafted to 8 slots after Travis Etienne. So
what I'm saying is I think Keenan's going to be balling this year. So that I think I'm going to take Keenan in that situation.
All right. Let's talk about the next one. Alvin Kamara. Alvin is getting old on a really bad offense. Right now in standard format, RB 17, 51 overall. PPR, he is also RB 17, 72 overall. So his running back rankings and PPR do not change. Rapid fire real quick. Rashad White, Alvin Kamara.
White.
Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara.
Walker.
David Montgomery.
That's where the line for me, I think, is blurry because I don't want a backup, second roll guy. I'd rather have the first roll guy. So I think I go Kamara.
And Stevenson or Kamara.
And both putrid offenses. Who's going to get the catches? Ramondre really failed us last year on those receptions. I was banking on him. We all know my love for him. Well, it's faded.
We do.
Kamara.
All right. So you are right where the ADP currently aligns. It was Rashad White, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery, then Ramondre Stevenson in that order. Kamara Montgomery are only 3 spots away from each other, so it's not that big of a difference.
I love that we have producer Jacob in the show now. How true was that to my real rankings?
1,000% true.
Thank you.
He's just the nowhere of all things. No, Kamara, the biggest thing for him is that pass catching upside. I think that's where he still makes his bread and butter, but I think the wheels are falling off. This is one of those situations where it's not like Derrick Henry. He's going to fail eventually. I think his time is coming to an end in fantasy relevancy.
I think pass catchers obviously last longer than someone like a Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb because they don't have that extra. We've seen Danny Woodhead play forever, or I think we'll see maybe Austin Eckler play a little bit longer because of his catching abilities and because of how he can pass protect. I think Kamara has those same abilities. We just don't look at players like that anymore. Look at Jerick McKinnon. He's 30, 32, something like that, still making plays in the Super Bowl, still making plays for his team.
Biggest thing
McKinnon's been a startable asset for fantasy players for the past 2 years,
especially in weeks 16 and 17.
Yep.
The biggest thing for Alvin Kamara here is not his touchdown upside anymore. It's literally his receptions. That's where he's getting all of his points in PPR format. The last 2 years, he's finished as RB16 and RB11. The years before that, for the 5 years, he's always finished in the top 10, including a running back 1 finish. He only scored 6 total touchdowns last year. He's never surpassed 1,000 yards rushing.
Didn't need it.
These aren't the stats you're looking for. These are not the stats you're looking for. What you're looking for is that the target ratio and the receptions. The Saints have who to catch the ball? Chris Olave. Shaheed.
Yeah, I'll be hating on
maybe.
Rashid.
So Kamara is, target number 2 for Derek Carr. There's no other guy. So that's the only thing that I think is really keeping him up there. Does he have a top 12 finish this year? I don't think so.
No. And nor does anyone expect it either.
No, not at all. Let's talk about the next one, Zamir White. Let's do some fast ones here. Zamir White, we talked about a little bit. Would you rather have White or Alvin Kamara?
Kamara.
Okay.
Kamara.
So Zamir's ADP for standard format, RB24, 76 overall. In PPR format, he is RB21 in 84 overall. A lot of people probably saw the pictures of him last week where he is completely jacked, but let's not forget about, who was it? Tyler Algier last year? Or no, it was the one Falcons
be
running
hating.
back that was like
Don't be hating
Mike
on
Davis.
Tyler Algier.
Mike Davis. Let's hope this is not a Mike Davis situation where he got incredibly buff just to do nothing. But Zamir White is RB1 on the Raiders offense. Is there anybody else there?
No one of note, but you never know. Zamir White, we've seen almost next to nothing of production as far as consistent and to be believable into the season. Of course, he did well. I have been a Zamir White guy forever, like literally forever. Yeah, they have Alexander Madison and rookie Dylan Loeb. Is it like Lisa Loeb? Spelled like Lisa Loeb. Yeah. Do you guys know who Lisa Loeb is? Loeb. Anyway, yeah.
2 years
out
of Zamir White.
I just can't really see. Like, I'm looking at the ADP. Spoiler alert. And I'm like, okay, I take Swift over him. I would take Jonathan Brooks over him. And honestly, that's about it.
Not Zach Moss.
I would take my chance on Zamir White because Zach Moss to me is just a guy, and he could be replaced any second, and I expect him to be replaced. And unfortunately, Zach Moss. This whole blah, right? This is where you kind of pick up the trash, and I mean this in a good way. I'm not calling them trash, but like this is where you find your goods. If one of these guys pops off from Zamir White, who's running back 21 right now, to all the way down to Trey Benson, who's running back 33. These guys in between, if one of these guys pop off, you got them super late at a value, and they all prove they could at some point, whether it be Mostert, Pollard. You look at Swift, rookies coming in and having major success. Maybe Jonathan Brooks is that guy. So we don't know. I do like this area of running backs, though, because it's a potluck. It's a make a wish. Let's go. Hopefully they turn out to be awesome. And they're cheap.
Right.
They're cheap.
Let's talk about wide receivers. The important position in fantasy football, in my opinion. I like the wide receivers the best. Puka Nacua, first up. You see the ADP I have on there. Actually, was I right on the ADP here, Jacob? Finally? It looks like I finally switched to the PPR, at least on Puka's, because he is wide receiver 7, 10th overall. He's being drafted in the first round. Okay, I'm glad. Okay.
Holy crap. What are we doing?
I picked this one because I wasn't sure what you were going to say about this one. Because what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing?
Listen.
We saw 1 year of Puka.
Listen.
1 year.
Listen. We saw one phenomenal year. So I'm not hating on Puka or his performance, and I'm okay with this. I am okay with this draft position. And I'm going to explain. I'm not doing it. You're not going to see me be crazy. But it could repeat. He mirrors Cooper Kupp and his abilities, not quite to the extent of a Cooper Kupp because he's legendary. But what I mean is he can just slot into that role, and Stafford and him have this good connection. We can easily see that again. But the problem is, in my opinion, you're drafting him at his ceiling, at the very, 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 very highest he will probably get to ever in his career. I just can't see myself walking up in my home league, even where we take things a little bit looser, walking up there and just saying, you know what? There's Garrett Wilson on the board. There's Marvin Harrison. There's Devontae Adams. There's Mike Evans. I'm just going to take Puka Nacua. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with myself. Sorry, give me a stud. I mean, he is a stud. Don't get me wrong. Like, he is awesome. I love what he did. I love what he did last year. I'm a big believer, like, as in his abilities. But, man, you got to have a lot more 20 target games. I don't think he's going to get that this year. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Producer Jacob has a question for us in the background.
Yes. So you make this argument for Puka Nacua, only having seen him 1 year. Then what is your thought process when you have a rookie like Marvin Harrison Jr. who's never played in the NFL? Is it his landing spot? Is it his pedigree from college? Like, what moves him up higher than after seeing an actual full year of Puka in the NFL?
I think it has a lot to do with how he played in college. It has a lot to do with the genes that he comes from, the talent pool. We expect Marvin Harrison to be great, just like we expected CeeDee Lamb to come into the league and be great. We expected Justin Jefferson and Tyreek. Well, we didn't expect Tyreek Hill. Sorry, Jamar Chase come in and be great in this league. We didn't expect Puka to be great. Was last year a phenomenal season and a fluke? Or is he just going to be this good for now on? Is he the new Tyreek Hill? I want to see it more before we just say he's going to be great.
So here's my thought process on this whole situation because I struggle with it. I am the biggest. Like I won so many leagues because I'm the guy who went out and got Eckler before he was Eckler. The guy who went out and got Chris Carson before, we knew it was Chris Carson. Like I'm a big believer in these undrafted. He's not undrafted though. He's 5th round pick, but he was still underrated coming in. So my thing is, if he was this great, like this awesome, he would have been drafted way higher in the 5th round in the real NFL draft. So was this just a perfect situation for a perfect year, and then he fades away? We saw it with Mike. You guys probably don't remember this, but I think Michael Clayton for the Buccaneers came in his rookie season, like 80 catches, 100, 1,100, 1,200 yards, and did nothing. Just vanished off the face of the planet. Now he's just the local Bucks broadcaster here, and love him, doing a great job. He had a great career, for anyone. But what I'm saying is this a situation where he fades away because he didn't have the high draft capital? He wasn't like a proven like stud. People were talking about him. Watch out for Puka, yada, yada, yada. Same thing we're doing with Khalil Shakir over there in Buffalo, right? We're talking about him the same way. But again, he needs the opportunity to be on the field. What if Cooper Kupp plays a full season? What if Cooper Kupp is healthy the entire season? That's what I look at. He is going to be the number 2 to start the season off. Now, Marvin Harrison, yes, he was a high draft capital guy in real life. They do have high expectations. He's number 1 on that depth chart just by being drafted there. He's number 1. So I'm looking at him as they have a lot invested in him. They expect a lot of great things from Marvin Harrison. And that's why I feel more comfortable drafting a Marvin Harrison over someone like Puka, who can easily fade into the background when Cooper Kupp returns a full 17-game season healthy. How is he going to demand 159 targets when Kupp's demanding 190? That's my question. And that's my evaluation process.
I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was the only guy for Matthew Stafford for a while. And then when Cooper Kupp came back, it was like, great. Now we have 2.
Well, and don't forget, they had Tutu Atwell there, and he was playing really well. And then he, I believe, got injured. Then they pulled in Van Jefferson or maybe somebody else. There was some guy from the past.
Van Jefferson at the end, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Demarcus Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson. There we go.
Had a late season. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, Puka there was a revolving door of receivers. There wasn't that one mainstay there. I'm not discounting Puka's season whatsoever. I'll still draft him, but I'm not drafting him in the 1st round. 3rd round to me is fair for him.
Yeah, I agree.
And that just tells me I'm not going to get him.
You won't, exactly, and you won't see me drafting Puka because he won't be available by the time I want to draft Puka. All right, let's move on because we've got I want to get to the draft here in a minute, and we're coming in close to 9 o'clock already. Let's go ahead straight to the tight end position. We're going to talk about Kyle Pitts because we talked about him at the top of the show. He currently is tight end 6, ADP 61 overall, and PPR, it's pretty much the same thing. He's ADP 60. So, Josh, I'm going to play the rapid fire game here again. Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts.
I forgot who I ranked higher. This one I might be a fraud on, but I'm going to go Andrews.
That's fine. Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts.
Kincaid.
Trey McBride, Kyle Pitts.
McBride.
Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts.
Ingram.
George Kittle, Kyle Pitts.
I think I still went Kittle.
Jake Ferguson, Kyle Pitts.
I went Pitts.
All right, so you have Kyle Pitts basically at tight end 8.
Most likely, I think he's around 8. Yep.
Okay, so that's fair. The only people being drafted after Kyle Pitts who you would prefer are Evan Ingram and George Kittle right now, which, in my opinion, I would too. I would not draft Kyle Pitts above those two. I think I agree with you. I would have him in between Kittle and Ferguson right now. Now with the recent of we're going to play him more at the wide receiver position this year, that could raise his stock up, especially in tight end premium leagues where he's still getting the tight end bonus like a Taysom Hill. That's kind of nice having a tight end premium point for a wide receiver getting receptions. That's honestly the only value I see in Kyle Pitts right now.
I'm talking me and you, Justin. We're low on Kyle Pitts for multiple reasons, and the main reason for me is I put him that low on my rankings, so I tell myself mentally, I'm not getting got again. And I know that's the big trendy thing. People are like, "Oh, we get got every year." Listen, like I'm done. Like I'm just completely done, and I'm okay missing out on this guy because there's tight end is deep this year. I would much rather have Evan Ingram, who's guaranteed targets, guaranteed red zone targets, guaranteed, everything, guaranteed to be at least a top 2 target, in my opinion, over there in Jacksonville, because that's what they do. They throw it to their tight end, they throw it to their running back over there in Jacksonville. Same can't be said. Now, Kirk Cousins, I saw someone in the chat earlier say Kirk Cousins loves to throw it to his number 1 tight end. That's not true. It was true with Hawkinson, but it wasn't true with the guys before. I think I did a whole short video on that where TJ Hawkinson already had more targets than Kyle Rudolph's entire career there from Kirk Cousins. And those little, so he didn't, but again, Kyle Rudolph, he's not on the par with. So it's really, it's a hard comparison to compare Rudolph to Hawkins, but I digress. We've seen Kirk Cousins push it to one specific receiver, Justin Jefferson, his whole career, or whoever else, Stephon Diggs. Are we really going to see London just take everything and Kyle Pitts is secondary again? Or do we see a true breakout from Kyle Pitts this year? Kyle Pitts has been awesome, guys, when he's played healthy, when he's involved. He had 1,000 yards his rookie season. I love that. That's what got me to go back in year 2 and then year 3, But then last year, I'm cutting him after week 1. I literally cut him after week 1, and I never looked back. And I'm not looking back. I'm not looking in the rear view mirror. There's a country song about that somewhere in my mind. But I'm not looking back at Kyle Pitts. I'm okay missing out. Give me Evan Ingram.
I agree. Everything you just said. Completely agree. All right, let's get to the fun segment here. We're going to bring producer Jacob in, or he's going to play the game too. So let's get right into our Once Upon a Draft. Look at this fancy segment here. Doesn't this look awesome?
If only we had music behind it.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. It's so we can talk over it. So our Once Upon a Draft this week is going to be related to College Football 25, which just came out this week for a lot of people, including Jacob, who got to play a lot of it over the last 48 hours or 72 hours. I don't even know. I get it Friday. Josh thinks he's getting it tomorrow.
Nope. Change it to Friday. I am so mad.
Well, we get to play it together. I finally got a PS5, everybody. I'm on the PS5 club now. So I can play this game. We're going to have a great league. I cannot wait for that league. So our mock draft today, or the Once Upon a Draft today, is teams to rebuild in College 25. And since Jacob got to play the game so far, I think Jacob gets the first pick since this is his first mock draft with us. So Jacob, you can go first, then Josh, then I'll go last.
Oh boy, that's so generous. I'm going to start off having only played one dynasty, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. We're going to go with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers out of the Sun Belt Conference.
Okay. Listen, I got problems with this pick already. I'm just going to say his first pick is awful. His first pick is awful. Because you're not playing the game right. Justin's question was programs to rebuild. You can't rebuild if you've never been built. So that's why I'm going with the greatest university of all time.
It's the greatest already. It's there.
Yeah, but pick is valid. You know what? You know what, Jake? You know what? There ain't the U. And I'm taking the U, University of Miami, because they've been there. They've been to the Holy Grail. They are one of the greatest college teams of all time. Picking University of Miami. They need in real life. Listen, I'm sick of not watching Saturday football anymore because
It
if you
sucks. So
I am so sick of it. Miami, get your crap ready, sort it out, find a good head coach. Let's do this, man. The U. That's who I'm picking in our dynasty, by the way. I'm picking them. If you want to be in the dynasty, join our Discord.
so here's the thing about this whole rebuild stuff is that you're immediately jumping straight to like the program that's going to have the money, the backing that can go in and build this really quickly. We're talking about grinding,
we're
grinding to make a team great. And I agree with Josh Wingate here. My 103 pick is going to be We Are Marshall University. That's a real rebuild. That's a team that was there. Everybody sadly died. And then they've been rebuilding ever since. So I'm going in there and completely overhauling everyone. So I've got Marshall. You apparently are a fraud and pick Miami. Jacob's taking Coastal Carolina. I don't know who Dave's picking.
Dave would probably pick Florida State. Seriously, because they need.
Is he a Florida State fan also?
Yeah, he is.
I know I like Dave.
I didn't know. First off, I was in the private chat. I didn't know Josh Wingate was here. Josh Wingate. Marshall's never been built either. All right, Jacob, back to you, please.
Okay, I'm going to move it around here since you didn't agree with my first pick. We're going to go with the Toledo Rockets out of the Mid-America Conference. Nothing like a good old MAC rebuild.
You know, I like the effort. No, that's pretty good.
I'll see I'm not invited back to any drafts. That
was really good. Again, Justin, you like to grind. I like, it's a video game. I want to be easy going. So who else to rebuild? Again, another powerhouse from my childhood.
Alabama.
They're built. They're already built. You can't rebuild them. They're built.
Florida.
Right?
If you pick Florida, we're done.
I'm not going to pick Florida because Florida's a bunch of cowards, and I don't associate with people except for Zach Blobner that have attended University of Florida. Honestly, I would really, really, really like Nebraska back on top. There ain't nothing better than a Saturday college than watching Nebraska in a home game in their white unis going against the good old. I miss the old conferences, by the way. The Big Ten, are they still around? The ACC, the SEC.
Yeah, the Big Ten is like the Big 18 now.
It's ridiculous, right? I miss the good old days.
USC, Washington, and Oregon are now in the Big Ten. So
I don't even. Yeah, that's ridiculous to me. I don't watch college football anymore.
I'm just picturing a like cold November afternoon in Bloomington, Indiana, where it's like snowing, or even an early December game, and USC comes to town. Like, that's so weird to me. Like,
it's gonna be weird. I just want some good old fashioned, Northwestern, Southwestern, wherever Nebraska is. Don't know where you are. Sorry, I don't know my mental map. But I miss those old country games. Give them to me again, man. I feel like those days are old and over. Nebraska.
With the 203. I'm going to go with another smaller school again. I'm going to pick... Actually, no. I might go a little bit... I'm going to go with a Power 5 school. However, it's a Power 5 school that hasn't been good since like 2000. It's the Purdue Boilermakers. I think it is a rebuild-esque team. Not a lot of people know where Purdue even is. Do you know where Purdue is?
Yeah, it's in Indiana.
Do you know what city in Indiana?
Drew Brees. Mike Allstott.
Yeah, that's where Drew Brees is from.
Mike Allstott. Mike Allstott too.
They were in the Rose Bowl in 2000. And that's about the last time they've been relevant. So, and that was with Drew Brees, I think. So, yeah, that's who I'm picking with the 203.
I don't hate it.
Third round. Jacob, you're on the clock.
Should we just cut his mic?
You probably should. I'm going to go LSU and then get out of here. So.
I like it. That's a good pick. His first good pick. Come on, Jacob. Come on. They're already built.
You can't pick LSU. I mean, Miami, yeah. I can see that. But LSU?
Nebraska's
like
not
a
good.
Top 3 school in the
Nebraska's not good. Look, I picked 2 teams that used to be. I'm showing my age. That's the whole. This is my whole bit here. I'm showing my age of when I used to watch college football, when it was good. That's my bit. I have a 3rd team coming up. So pick your.
All right, fine. I will go with another SEC team. I'm going to go with the Missouri Tigers.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair.
I got to make one good pick tonight, so we'll go with that.
That's not bad.
I'm gonna go with an SEC school too. By the way, Josh, go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, can we all do that now? Are we all just picking powerhouses?
It's not a powerhouse.
Oh, you're not picking a powerhouse, huh? Okay.
No.
So, with my final pick of this awesome draft, which I am super excited for this last pick. And no, this is not a joke. I don't honestly, and I don't watch college football, so I don't know if this team is relevant now. I hope they are. Tennessee. There ain't nothing better.
They're
Honestly.
semi-relevant.
They're semi-relevant? Okay. Well, all I know is I love that color. I love the stadium. Everyone's in their overalls with no shirts on. They got their orange pants. They're hopping. They got that cool song. And plus, my friend Jerry Blackburn's a huge Tennessee fan. Love you, Jerry. I would love to actually play a franchise or a dynasty with Tennessee. Should we all be SEC teams in our dynasty? Should we all be SEC?
Round, we can, yeah. I mean, that would be the hardest rebuild, which would be fun.
If we all pick like the lower end teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that.
I just know when I make this graphic and post on social media, you are gonna get eaten alive, and I can't.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win.
Everybody's gonna be like, those aren't rebuild schools.
They're
those are
not
that are
okay.
currently competing.
Okay, let me look at the 2023.
I mean, Nebraska, yeah, is trash. Miami
top,
is not
2023 top 25 NCAA.
But classic rebuild college football teams are ones that don't have the money.
Okay,
they're like 1-star schools. Maybe I should have said favorite 1-star school to build.
I'm looking at the Associated Press's top 25 from last year, the final one. Okay, do I see Miami?
Oh my God, get out of here. All right, 303. I am picking an SEC school also. However, if I'm thinking the hardest school to build in the SEC, I'm picking Vanderbilt. The worst SEC school, the one that everybody completely forgets that is part of the SEC, gets smacked all the time.
Tennessee's in the top 25. I apologize.
Yeah, fraud. You want to repick?
Yeah, I do want to repick. Hold on. Can I repick? Is that allowed?
Pick. Anthony made a good pick for you. FAU.
You know what? I'm not changing it. Tennessee. Take us back to glory, baby. Peyton Manning, let's go.
Fraud.
So the bottom 4 teams in the SEC in the video game: Vanderbilt 71 overall, Mississippi State 83, Tennessee 83, South Carolina 84, and then the Missouri Tigers.
And those are good.
Tennessee is the lowest. All I gotta say is they're in the bottom 4. That means they need to rebuild.
They're the 3rd lowest, but yes.
Okay, 3rd. Okay, well, who's the top? They're 83s. Well, Alabama's like 99.
No, you have Georgia at 95, Alabama at 92, Texas at 91, and then LSU at 89.
Wait, Texas
is
in the Big 12.
As you guys are talking here, like Josh Wingate put your picks in the comments. Tell us who you would rebuild in draft order, starting from the 1st round, 2nd round, and 3rd round. Josh agreed with me on the 1st round, Marshall, and then Syracuse and Yale. Those would be fun to rebuild. I'm not sure if Harvard is in there. Is Harvard in there? Because that would be. If they are, we can all pick Ivy League schools.
Ooh, dibs on Brown.
Rebuild. Don't get your hopes up. They're not.
Dang.
Oh, really?
That's a bummer.
Neither is Yale.
How many teams? Wait, they don't have every single college team?
They don't have FCS schools, and they're probably considered FCS.
Okay.
So that's a bummer, but that would have been really cool. So be sure to leave a comment who you would draft. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever. TikTok, we're not really posting, but follow all the things. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Hosting is a lot harder than I thought. Josh, you get this back next week. I think next week we start our rankings talk, right? Yeah.
And next week won't be a whole 90 to 100-minute show. We got we'll have a host that can wrap it up in 45. Now, Justin, you did good. You did good, sir. You did good. I'll get some feedback. You did great. I'll give you some constructive criticism, if I can say that word. After the show.
Wear a nice button-up collared shirt.
Well, you see, I listen. You didn't press the music, by the way. You want me to do it for you?
Yeah, I don't have the music. You have to do that. So again, be sure to follow, like, subscribe everywhere you can find a podcast. If you don't subscribe to us on YouTube yet, please subscribe. We're almost at 100, guys. Please get us to 100. We're at 92. The goal is to get to 100 before the season, well before the season, hopefully, and then just keep grinding. So until next week, when we are going to start talking about rankings and redraft, I think that's the show, guys. Peace out. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.